I want to talk. Joel Klatt came out with his post-spring way too early top 25. And I'm sure a lot of thought for him went into this.
Yeah.
You know, you look at Nebraska, what they've added to their team, but their schedule, they have a very favorable draw. And I think anybody with a good head on their shoulders would recognize that. He has Nebraska right now ranked number 22 in the way too early preseason poll. Now, looking in the Big Ten, Ohio State and Oregon, Michigan, and Penn State are all top 10 teams. Guess how many of those teams Nebraska plays this year?
One
team, Ohio State. So that alone, I think, USC is number 15.
Oh, there you go.
Iowa's number 24. Wisconsin, not on the poll.
No. A couple of those I can't tell who they are. 6, I didn't know who the hell that was. I guess that's Utah. 6.
Sometimes that looks like Indiana.
Yeah. I was like, Indiana 6.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Somehow they decided to make that the Utah Utes, but it's a really confusing logo. I would agree with you on that, old man Steve Sipple.
Oh, well, there it is, Sean. That's interesting. It had nothing to do with age. Ole Miss 5, Utah 6 are really interesting. Klatt, as far as Nebraska goes, he did it. He went to places that it's hard to go to around here. He said they could be 7-0 going into Ohio
Colorado
State.
being the toughest game.
Yeah. He said 7-0. And he said the other magic words, this could be an 8-9 win team.
You know what, though? This is an identical schedule to 2016 when Nebraska went 7-0 under Mike Riley. That was the last time Nebraska football has been ranked inside the top 10. And you go back to that schedule in 2016, they had Oregon. And you could argue that Oregon opponent that came into Lincoln is a much better team than Colorado.
Oh God, yeah. Now they didn't have Royce Freeman that day, or he started the game.
They knocked him out.
Now, if Royce Freeman plays that game, it might look different.
Maybe.
But
they won that game in Lincoln.
Yeah.
And they won it against Indiana and Illinois and I believe Purdue. I mean, they had almost an identical draw in 20. That was the schedule that kind of gave you a little bit of hope with Mike Riley. And then they got blown out against Iowa, which led to the firing of Mark Banker eventually at the end of the year.
I want to hear what Rob has to say, but I want to say one thing. I listen to Joel Klatt. I listen to Joel Klatt above all others.
He's probably one of the smartest college football analysts out there, just because he doesn't, sure, he throws opinion out there, but a lot of it is reasoned opinion. Like, he just doesn't throw out hot takes just to get attention and clicks. Like, I think he puts, like you said, a lot of thought into this, and his thinking behind putting Nebraska this high was, you look at what they did last year and all the 3-point losses that they had.
4 3-point losses?
And the fact that they,
right?
4 3-point
Michigan
losses.
State, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Maryland, right?
Yeah, that's 4.
Okay.
So
that's 4.
So he's saying
15 turnovers.
I'll take the L on the chin there.
He's saying that in itself, gives reason that they were better than what their record would have indicated. Nebraska fans are tired of hearing that. But then he's pairing that with the quarterback situation. And he says that if Dylan Raiola is just even mildly better than what they were just in terms of turnovers, that should inherently lead to more wins. And then you add in the favorable schedule, which we've already talked about. They're set up in a really good position. Now, we'll see how much that translates. We're talking about projections in May, but I think that's a lot of reasons why a guy like Joel Klatt, who is not just throwing out to get Nebraska clicks, I think he honestly believes that this team was better than they were a year ago and will be significantly better than they were this year.
Yeah, I don't think there's no real reason for him to play politics here. Nebraska's not going to be on that big noon kickoff, so he's not trying to drive up Nebraska's ratings.
Well, they could be later in the year.
Yeah, it could be, but I don't think he has any reason to do this that's other than he really believes Nebraska's okay. He clearly respects Rule. He respects what Rule did at Baylor and Temple, and he thinks he's in the midst of doing it at Nebraska. So his reasoning was, I would say, spot on. It's just he says some things that I don't want to say we're not allowed to say, but if I get on a radio show or this podcast and say I think they're going to go 7-0, it's going to be, oh, there you go again. There you go again.
Snipple's drinking the Kool-Aid already.
Yeah, here
Media
we go.
hype.
Yeah.
You have been the problem.
Right.
This is what somehow us having a glass half full opinion of looking at a schedule where Vegas is going to say you're favored in every game,
Right.
that you can win all those games, which, by the way, people that make billions of dollars put
Right.
those numbers on those games. And we're just saying, yeah, they could win all 7 games. No, like, I mean, people like freak out about it.
You are part of the problem.
That's right.
Oh my
People that are a lot smarter than you and I,
right.
which is
right.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
That doesn't narrow it down.
But
Yeah, just, yeah.
feel. But they're going to put numbers on these games where
Right.
Nebraska's, it's probably going to be favored in all 7. I mean,
Yeah.
you never know, like going to Purdue, what that line could be.
Mhm.
Indiana on the road, but I would be shocked if they're a dog in any of the first 5 home games.
What I would tell Klatt if he asked me was, Nebraska doesn't appear to be a team with any major problems. I think they have some minor issues, though. I mean, they have a freshman quarterback. They have a kicker that's been inconsistent.
Running back, like nobody's
Hold
actually.
on, I'm not done yet. Punter inconsistent. Yeah, no running back that's really, you would say, wow.
Mhm.
Hunter is a concern.
Yeah,
I mean, when you start shanking 20-yard punts in field position games, that's how you lose.
exactly. What's the problem been? Close games. I mean, there's a reason he's not the only reason, but there's the offensive line still has a lot to prove. So there's a lot of little minor things that can add up if you're not careful.
Mhm. But the biggest thing is just the unknowns, I think, for Nebraska. That you think the quarterback position is going to be better. You think the wide receivers are going to be more talented. You think the offensive line will naturally be better. You think that they have enough options at running back that they will be better than they were a year ago. But until they actually do it, that unknown is what I think is going to limit too much hype from flowing, even if national guys like Klatt are saying they're top 22.
22. I did think in the spring game that I think the roster overall does look better when you zoom out a little bit and not just focus on, the minutia. If you just zoom out, it looks better.
If
It looks better.
if they get to 7-0, they'll be ranked.
No doubt.
Oh God, yeah.
No doubt.
I mean, I think if they
That'd be
get to,
ranked
I think
high.
if they get to like 4-0, they're ranked.
Close. Yeah, close.
I mean, if they look convincing.
yeah,
Mhm.
7-0, I would think they're top 15.
15, yeah, and then all of a sudden,
Am I crazy? Am I
No.
crazy? 7-0, you're
No.
top 15.
and then hey, I wanted to get this in real quick too, guys. Remember Bubba Starling? Not Bubba Starling, Monte Harrison,
I do remember.
former Husker,
Who could forget?
2014 recruit, drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers.
Mhm.
Ended up playing for the big league Florida Marlins. Signed to play for Arkansas football this fall.
He's still a receiver.
So he's still a receiver and was the Kansas City High School Football Player of the Year. Outstanding football talent. Was a Bo Pelini guy. And that was kind of that era where Bo lost Bubba Starling to the Royals, then Monte Harrison to the Brewers, both MLB draft picks. But Monte Harrison is going to be playing football for
Yeah.
Arkansas.
At age.
He'd be about 28-ish.
This is an amazing story. I remember I went down to Kansas City and watched him play basketball, and it was a sight. I mean, that was that was because Nebraska was all over him. Everybody was talking about him. People even remember this. I mean, Monte Harrison probably goes 6'4", 6'3". I don't know what he would go now. He's probably 190 back then, probably 210 now is my guess. Big time receiver, just the kind of guy you need. I mean,
Well, just his maturity level,
now, yeah.
being a professional athlete for 10 years, going into a college situation, it's just going to be like he's going to be like another coach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He'll be older. He'll probably be older than a couple of the
I
coaches.
wonder if he can still run. I mean, that's the thing that you wonder
yeah.
about right away.
But he was one of the most dynamic athletes for that age coming out of high school that a lot of us had ever seen.
So
Oh, he was a major league dunker. I know that.
I'll never forget, we had the Rivals camp back then, an Under Armour camp, and it was either in St. Louis or Kansas City. And he showed up to the camp in heart of baseball season, like April or May, takes off his baseball cleats, puts on football cleats. He was MVP of the camp.
Really?
And Alan Lazard,
Mhm.
who's an NFL wide receiver, was there, and some other big name receivers. And he was significantly better than a guy like Alan Lazard, who ended up, catching a lot of touchdowns in the NFL.
Yep. Wow. Guys, this is definitely a story to watch. Did he consider Nebraska?
Oh, there's no relationship. I mean, who knows? I mean, he's a grown man. I mean,
Right.
it's not like I'm sure
Arkansas is close. It's close.
I'm sure there's got to be some
Check the
sort
map
of
out.
connection. But God, you'd think Lance Leipold at Kansas would have been all over him.
Yeah.
He's a Kansas City area guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Or Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, the Missouri Tigers, you saw them in that ranking list.
They're number 10.
Yeah.
Missouri's number 10 in Joel Klatt's top 10.
All three of those old Big 8 teams in Kansas, Missouri are ranked.
Yeah.
Missouri was 10, KU or K-State was 20, and KU was 23.
Yeah. Something like that.
Long live the Big 8.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Back.
Monty Harrison, Bubba Starling were right in that same. Were they in the same class?
no, they were a couple years apart. 2011
Okay. Yeah.
would have been that year with Bubba,
Mhm.
the first year of the Big 10.
So that Monty Harrison story is going to be something to watch.
And there's Bubba at a fan photo day. Look at the young Adam Kruger in the photo bomb there.
Just a
That's
youngster,
a photo
little
bomb.
guy.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it was 2011. That was 13 years ago. Bubba Starling never really was going to happen here.
It's fun while it lasted.
It was. Now he was a dude with a. I mean, I watched him play baseball. It was ridiculous how fast he was, and his arm strength was incredible. But he wasn't. I'll never forget watching him take batting practice, thinking, "Ooh, that's just okay." And then in the game I saw, he was 1 for 4. And I was like, I don't know if he can hit major league pitching. He never did. He never
Mhm.
did. Never did.
It would have been interesting to see both those guys come and play football and play baseball for the Huskers at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, it would have been interesting to watch Bubba run the bases. He was playing a good team, a good Legion team. He was stealing third standing up. Think about that. You weren't doing that, Sean.
Well,
Stealing third standing up.
you watch a big league game, every guy can run like that.
That's true.
I mean,
they have to be.
unless you're just an elite home run hitter.
Right.
But you watch like Shohei Ohtani. I mean,
oh god,
he probably runs a 4.5 40.
something crazy.
Yeah, he's
And
got
he
the
can hit a
biggest freak in
baseball
Major
100
League Baseball history.
He can hit a home run 120 miles an hour.
Yeah. I saw those 2 ding dongs he hit on Sunday.
Just a dead center.
Dead center.
Guy said it sounded like a shotgun.
Yeah. I was hoping. I
He
hope he
good.
bet on himself.
They swept the